To me, teaching is about empowering young people, changing lives, making a difference, and equipping young people with the tools to be better individuals for the future. Hi, my name is Emmanuel Awoyelu. I'm an assistant head teacher here at Eastbury Community School. Last thing, would you prefer for me to give you a challenge, or would you like to give each other a challenge? You want to give one to me? My experience as a child in school was very negative, and I suffered my first school exclusion in year 5. I was then excluded again in year 10. And so because of that negative experience, teaching actually was the last thing I would have got into. I kind of fell into teaching. I left university, wasn't too sure what I wanted to do with myself. I was a sports coach for a number of years, and an opportunity came up where I was able to go into a school, and I was delivering football sessions there, and I said to the head teacher, is it possible for me to go in and get some work experience? She said, yes, come in, support a young man for 2 weeks while we've got someone on paternity leave. Long story short, the 2 weeks turned into 5 months, and at the end of that period of time, I realised that education is for me. So I trained as a teaching assistant initially. I did a number of years doing one-to-one support, learning support assistant, and I saw the impact that I could have with young people, particularly young people who were disadvantaged. There's been a few times where I've been left quite gobsmacked. For instance, I had a child, she was a selective mute, she hadn't spoken, and I remember teaching her for a number of months now. She wouldn't say a word to me, and I thought maybe the issue's with me. And I remember it was December. We were in the middle of a lesson, and she answered me. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal, but she answered me, like she gave me a response. And I remember turning around at the teaching assistant like, did anyone else catch that? Did you hear that? She said something. And I think what was even more amazing was when her parent came into school, her mum came into school to speak to me, and she said, at home, she always talks about you. And I couldn't believe it. I spent the first few months thinking, maybe it's me, maybe it's because I'm a guy. And that just made me feel that sometimes what you think you know isn't always the case, and children always find ways to surprise you. Growing up, I didn't see many black male teachers, and I definitely didn't see any black head teachers. I do think it had an impact on my experience in school, just because I felt like I didn't have someone that represented me, understood my culture. Being Nigerian, coming from a particular community, living in East Ham, I think it was really important to have at least someone in the school that could kind of understand that, and I didn't really get that. So I think for me, the drive to becoming a head teacher, I think ultimately is to build schools that are ultimately going to be the hub of our community. I think schools are incredibly important. So the advice I would give to students thinking about going into teaching, consider going through the route of becoming a teaching assistant first. Very invaluable, the experience that you get there. I would also say, know where you would like to teach in terms of what type of provision, whether it's primary, secondary, special schools, mainstream education. I would also say, surround yourself with people who can support you. Find a mentor even after you finish training. Very, very key to learn from someone more experienced from you. I would also say use social media. You're always learning as a teacher, but there are so many different opportunities now to gain knowledge about a certain subject or areas of concern. So make sure you network, but also make sure that you use social media or books, whatever it might be, to continuously develop yourself throughout your career. Teaching for me is incredibly fulfilling. I wake up every single day proud and honoured to be in the role. I come into school and you've got faces, young children smiling at you because you are the first person they're seeing today who maybe has said good morning to them, and it's just those little interactions that I think make the difference. I genuinely feel like it's a privilege to be able to, have the opportunity to kind of make a difference in young people's lives. I always say, and I don't mean it in a cliche way, I think teaching is the best job in the world.